Alright folks, my name is Freyn and today I've got a few games of the T-62 for you. It's in complete stock condition. I actually started recording these before the patch to try and do a stock 10, and then the patch hit when I'd only got a few of them done. So I ended up abandoning that idea, and as a result all this footage is from 1.79. Now we start off on Hurtgen Forest, and I had considered going up here into the north, but decided I've not got very good mobility, it's going to take a while to get out there. But instead, we've noticed a Magak heading up that way, so I'm kind of thankful I didn't go up there. And thanks to the AP FSDS round that this comes with having an absolutely phenomenal velocity for this tier, it was basically just a point and click kill. But it's pretty small and I didn't want to rush up too fast, so we're skipping ahead. And we're just moving up with the rest of the team now, trying to stay relatively together. There's an M103 ahead. For some reason at the time I chose to go for the lower plate instead of just going into the side of the breach there, and managed to bounce my shot off his beak. It's the thickest part of the M103 armour. Not really an ideal shot. The IT-1 just killed one M103 there though, and there is the second. I managed to miss all that ammo just ever so slightly, despite the APFSDS rounds quite wide cone. But with the killing shot there, you can see the absolutely absurd slope modifiers you get from these lawn dart rounds. The sheer angle of that pendon is absolutely insane. But we're going to continue pushing up until I noticed the other T-62 get taken out by an M103. So I figured I'd turn around and go see if I can find him. We didn't have too much on the south side of the town, and there's going to have been things pushing through there. M103's just been marked up on the map. Somebody's either got a scout or a hit on him. We'll start heading over and just see a shape moving. M42 down. As I said, point and click with this thing. It's got a stabilizer, it's got incredibly good ballistics. There was a vehicle just off to the left that I didn't notice during the game, but have noticed during this commentary. There's the M103 though, so shoot into the ammo. He can't get rid of that from his turret, not since the new ready rack system. So that's pretty much a guaranteed kill. I've not played too many tanks with APFSDS rounds, but I've certainly noticed they are pretty reliable for ammo racking. And now it's just push up and try and finish it off. There's a bulldog down the road. Just knife through butter really. But that's 5 kills and already 1 game over, so they're going to be fairly quick clips today, and we'll move on to game number 2. This is Abandoned Factory, of course, and as I have tended to for the past few months, I'm going to head out towards the A point, see if I can pick off anything that's headed out there early on, maybe get the cap, and then we'll sweep up around the other side of the map. But to do that and get that shot, I need to just peek myself forwards. See something coming? It's British. And it's either a Centurion or a Vickers. Turns out it's a Vickers, but either way, this dart is not going to have any problems going through the front plate of that thing. At this battle rating, it really is just one of the best guns available to you. And from what I've played so far, the platform it's on isn't particularly bad either. I haven't got around to spading it yet, so I don't have the engine mods, but other than the normal Russian trait of not being able to turn very well at low speeds, it's pretty manoeuvrable, and the armour isn't exactly too shabby either. It's not spectacularly thick, but it's thick enough that you can bounce, take a few hits here and there just due to the angles and potential ricochet.
Attention to the map.
We're starting to cap A, so I figured I'd turn around and head over there myself. You can see there how long it takes to get back to that cap. It wasn't exactly slow, but I didn't really make it in time to get a huge amount of RP.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Now to begin that sweep around the back. Or at least that was my plan. This leopard has pinged something behind us. So turn around and see what we can find. He's looking off to the left, so let's just have a look. There's the STB. Not my greatest shot. Managed to miss his gun and his ammo. And now I have that wonderful Soviet problem. Of course, no tank is particularly great when stock with no parts or FPE, but these have got fuel tanks in the front. And that's not really ideal, so I've got to sit and wait for the Leopard to either take a chance or the STB to move, and then peek out and finish him off. So, time to head north. We've pretty much got this map locked down. This is a very good tier for the Soviets, to be honest. The Centurion AVRE ahead just killed that tank in front of me. Not quite sure where he is, but we've seen a T-95E1. Again, the slope penetration, that was a pretty hefty angle. And just went through end to end and just hit a random piece of ammo. While I was doing that, the Centurion's dead. They are capping the sea point, so I'm still headed on my way. Now let's go get this under control and hopefully pick up an M163 kill. At least that's the plan. But this T-54 in front of me just got nuked by an M46, and I'm a bit hesitant to advance further as I don't know where the shell came from. Most likely to be their spawn, but it doesn't matter for now. There's the M163. Again, point and click, there's really no aim required when you get around to this type of ammunition. But that's the last kill for this game, and nothing really of interest goes on afterwards, so we move on to battle number 3. Eastern Europe, and with me being in a stock vehicle, I'd rather stay out of harm's way, although I do like to come this way regardless. There's a good vantage point up here. Up this hill, so headed out this way. I've got a good top speed, I can get there quite quickly, and we'll see what I can find with some slightly longer range shots. A bit less chance of being flanked and getting shot in the engine. Now, there's target number 1. That's a Leopard, and there was another shot that came from further up the hill, so we'll take out the first one and just try and have a quick look. I don't see anything quite yet, so we'll move up and try and get to the next set of cover. Just keeping my eye out on the way. This is one of my problems with Gaijin's map design, really. I used to always come across the river here and go down into that lower town area, try and get some flanking shots around the cap. But I always found I ended up getting shot from up the hill, so I've started to come up the hill and try and clear this area first. But then quite often I'll come up here, there's nothing here, so I'll take a few shots down towards the B point and then suddenly get shot in the back. And it turns out there was somebody coming up this hill, but he was just taking his time over it, and he was sat on the other side of this little ridge here. So now I have to come forwards and check the ridge to keep myself alive a bit better. And that's where the problem with the map design comes in, because this ridge, certainly on this side of the map, can see into the enemy spawn. Now, obviously spawn camping can help, but I would rather not get into it this early on. So first we'll take out that Leopard, that's the other person shooting I saw earlier. I'm going to back up. There was a tank just moving in the scope there, but he'll be probably long gone before I'm ready to shoot him again. And as I said, I don't really want to sit up here if I can avoid it. So just making sure there's nothing with a line of sight on me. And I've noticed we're getting a bit thin in the town now, so I'm going to turn and start heading back. I don't really want to remain in the same place for too long if I can avoid it. But I've also noticed we're getting a bit thin on the ground, so cutting off a few of their respawns might actually not be such a bad idea. Of course, spawn killing early in the game is potentially more useful than late, as there's going to be more respawns to kill. But it just doesn't quite sit right with me getting into a spawn camp position that early on. I don't think it should be possible, really. The maps should require a bit of a longer fight to get there. Like, there's something now I've noticed firing out from that south forest. I can't see quite where, but I definitely saw something. So I decided to head back up the hill and into these logs for a bit of cover. It's not ideal to really be driving up with my engine presented to the enemy like that, but it's going to be a darn sight faster than trying to reverse up. However, I've got some line of sight on B. Potential Panther 2 kill taken away by this M47's barrel. I had no idea the barrel was there. So we'll just take him out for that. For ruining my shot. Something else moving up in the background. It's a really powerful position if the enemy is focused still around the B point. There's all sorts of people flooding in to try and get around here. Not so great if they're around the A point, certainly. So it tends to work better from this side of the map than the other in my experience. But it's definitely a strong spot. I was just too late to get rid of that Panther 2 that I took a shot at earlier. Now, again, watching the footage back, I can see the tank that's out in the south from here. I couldn't see it at the time. Sometimes you just don't really have the time to sit, train your eyes all over the screen. You've just got to take a quick glance and move on. And as I've just killed a couple of people, I'm expecting some revenge on my way. No ammo in the back of the turret. It's all in that fuel tank. Hello? There's one of the revenge vehicles I was waiting for. Or maybe not revenge, maybe you just saw the shots and came my way. So from this point on, really, now it does turn into a bit of a spawn camp, I'm afraid. Not the most ideal. Doesn't necessarily make for the best video footage either. But this is just how some of the games go. So that's Panther 2, Gepard. Then there was another tank that drove up while I was trying to finish the Panther. There he goes, that's a Leopard, so reload. Not entirely sure where the ammo I hit in that tank was, unless it counts the ammo within the breach. Which I don't think I've ever seen that before, but... IE-251. As I said, at this stage it's pretty much just picking off people as they try and drive back into the town. The game was potentially won quite a while ago, and although I have abused it a bit here, I would really rather some of these older maps had a bit of an overhaul. Map design has never quite been Gaijin's strong point. And one final kill here. I've moved a little too close. I was trying to find an angle on a Yag Tiger I'd seen drive behind that building. Actually not the first. I'd shot about 4 different tanks in the side, just missing their ammo rack. Only to have them stop behind that exact building and get picked off by someone else. So come down here, got myself close enough to be marked on the map. Thankfully, it's only a Panther F. But at least we have something out of this kill, and that's the damage there. It didn't quite one-shot it, which really surprised me. I was expecting a bit more out of it. It's a very, very good round, as I said, but not one-shotting a Panther was slightly surprising for me. So we're learning to not anticipate one-shots quite as much as I would have thought. And with that, we move on to game number 4, and the final one of today's video. This particular battle served as a rather heavy reminder to me that I am in stock condition. The previous ones have been going quite well, and I started to get a bit more aggressive than I probably should for an early stage of the grind. It certainly reminded me of what not to do. So we've got quite a few tanks driving down here. M103 in the background, and an M48 who's already seen me. So M48 down, and then there goes my barrel. Very early in the game, I've got plenty of targets, and I can no longer fire. We don't have any caps yet, it's that early on. So I really need to get out of here and sit and wait for our team to get something under control, and then hope I can get to it. And that seems to be the C point, so time to turn and make one very long journey. And about 4 minutes later, we're repaired. But we've lost the entire rest of the map. That one M103 is now swept round and is busy picking people off just north of the B point, slightly northeast of my current position. This is also a mixed battle, which is not really my favourite thing to end up in at the moment. But I would still like to win it, so I'm going to head off towards the B point and see if I can cause some damage there. Maybe give us a chance of taking it back. Already, the vast bulk of our ground vehicles are now anti-aircraft, and for some reason this IS-6 is headed over to the one cap we already have. But we've also just lost a tank to the north of us, and one to the south, so it looks like the enemy are quite busy pincering around onto the C point. And this is not painting a very good picture for me. In fact, at this stage I was saying I'm pretty sure it's already lost. But the M103 has been tagged up on his way to C, so I'm making the decision to try and turn around, and I'll start heading out that way. He's just got another kill. Thankfully kept my gun pointed in this direction as an M48 drives around the corner. Nice easy one shot. And the reload speed, not as bad as I'd actually been expecting from this. So I'm all ready to sit, wait, and hopefully pick off whatever is coming to the C point from the north. Although I also have the capability to just move forwards a bit and get anything if they're coming from the south as well. It's a good overlooking position to keep that C point locked down. There we go. First target, that's T-54. Aimed a bit off to the side of where I wanted really. Either direction would have done. Right, it would have got 3 crew, and left would have hit his ammo. I could finish him off, he's got no gun for the moment. But there being another tank there, I wanted to make sure he was at the very least disabled, so that my ally, who's currently repairing on the point, is not in too much trouble. The T-54 can't quite get a shot on me, and I can't quite get a shot on him. So he pops smoke. I can see his barrel sticking out of it, so I know roughly where he is, and finish him off. I was actually having a bit of trouble in the end with this. I'm not used to the shells being that high velocity. So with most guns I would sort of aim, using the mill sights to adjust for the range a bit, and you know, aim accordingly. But with this, because the mill sights are so close together and it's such high velocity, I ended up just kind of pointing and clicking and not really taking into account the range. So I was often hitting a little too low because I wasn't really expecting the shells to drop at all. Obviously all shells do have drop, and this is very minor, but with it being so point and click, especially at closer ranges, I sort of started acting as if there just wasn't any drop and it was a completely flat line. So it took a few games to get used to, and probably shouldn't. But we are now, at this stage of the game, in control of all three caps. And I know there's a light tank marked up around me, so peek out, take a shot, and hull break the RU-251. But there is something else there, and this IS-6 is going in, so he's going to take the hit. I'm reloaded, so I'll follow up. Rather delayed reaction, and take out the BMP. So, despite that initial shot taking out my barrel, I've ended up with a reasonable game, and for a stock run this has been a very comfortable tank to play in. It's not quite quick enough to get myself into trouble. Very good gun. And I've mostly remembered that I am stock and put some appropriate caution in. Also helps as well that the Russian teams at this BR are pretty dominant, honestly. This is the closest game I had out of all of the ones I played. And yeah, this being the only mixed battle probably has something to do with it. Really did not expect this one to come at anything close to a win in the end. Although there's certainly been a lot of punishment from above. And there's now an Object 120 headed my way, which I'm not too fond of, so we'll navigate around these rocks. Seeing as I couldn't just drive down the hill as I originally hoped. Not a huge issue for any map, of course, just something that really tends to bug me. This map, and Karelia especially, every hill seems to have a pile of rocks at the bottom. That bit of manoeuvring, and I'm getting towards where I wanted to be, where I can overlook a bit of the approach to the B point from outside the natural angles that they're going to look at. Medium headed for the B point, and there's the Object 120. Feels rather odd shooting at other Russians, but there we are, into the cannon breach for the hull break. And let's head back and see if I can defend the B point. It's pretty much under wraps now, so there we are, T-95E1, but it just disappeared into the smoke. And I need to get into a position where I will actually have gun depression to shoot down, keeping an eye out for anything else driving up. Smoke's cleared. Well, smoke launcher has cleared. There he is. And again, rather terrible shots. Something I just really kept repeating with this vehicle. Just missing between the crew. I guess part of it comes from obviously the Russian grind up to this point being entirely APHE based. Although I have obviously played with solid shot tanks before, it's an unusual thing to be in a Russian vehicle. And somehow this T-95 kept failing to kill me. I am of course completely stock, as we've mentioned. I have no engine, no gun, no turret, no tracks. And it frustrated me a little bit. Not my finest moment. Yeah. Getting angry at teammates in chat, but they came through in the end. And now I'm just condemned to sit here until the end of the battle, which thankfully was a win, and I managed to not get killed by anybody. But we'll leave it there for today. Back with some recent patch content soon. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you next time.